What's good, family? I hope y'all are having a very beautiful day today. And today I want to talk to y'all about something that is called the middle way. Now, what is the middle way? The middle way is a Buddhist concept. It's originally Buddhist, but you can find this concept in many different places. But it essentially deals with the idea of suffering. Now, what is suffering? Suffering is essentially being in a state of distress over something. It's that simple. You can just define it like that. Now, how does the middle way deal with suffering? Well, the middle way is a path that is in the middle of extreme desire and extreme aversion. That's how I'm going to define it in this video. Now, extreme desire can look like me really wanting to have this one car, right? I see this car every day. I look it up every day. I sleep with a magazine of the car. I got posters of the car all over my bedroom or whatever. It's an extreme desire for the car. So extreme, in fact, that I can have a million different cars. They can even be better cars. They could be worse cars, but I can have more access to those cars than this one car that I really want that I can't afford at the time. But I really tunnel vision so hard into this one car that I want, and it puts me in a state of distress because since I can't afford this car right now, I can be prone to being jealous, seeing other people having a car. I could potentially get into a state where I want it so bad that I cause harms to others in an effort just to get this car that I want. It can get really bad. Another polar opposite example of this, which is an extreme aversion to something, could be me getting invited to a social gathering, right? Now, the social gathering is a week away. And somebody invited me to it. I have to go for my job or whatever. And every time I hear about the social gathering or even think of it, I get in such a giant state of fear. I get so much anxiety. My heart starts beating a million times a second. Like, it's just such a bad type of feeling that I have. Maybe it's because I went to a gathering before and it didn't go well. So maybe I'm projecting it onto this current situation. But the point is that I'm in such an extreme state of fear or anxiety over this one thing that I'm very far away from what I'm talking about today, the middle way. Now, the way that the middle way alleviates this suffering is that it gives a state or a plane of balance that I can come to and experiencing the state of desire and also experiencing the state of aversion to whatever something may be, but choosing to live in the middle of that and just accepting how I may feel in a moment and letting it pass. So this essentially is a way of self-control or balancing and grounding yourself within a world by allowing yourself to experience your emotions or whatever it may be that you're experiencing, but not allowing it to take you over. And this is very important because self-control, especially emotional self-control, is a big thing that will help a lot of people stay out of bad situations they may get in. So like people who are prone to violence or have anger issues or something like that, if they have more self-control and were able to process their emotions better and to allow them to pass while still accepting how they feel, it would make them less likely to react violently to whatever situation they may be in, which would prevent them from being in an even worse situation in the future. Now, why is the middle way important? The middle way is important because it allows you to go through life without having to suffer permanently. Suffering is an inevitable part of the human experience. It is something that I would say is fundamental and something that we have to experience, or else it wouldn't really give meaning to the non-suffering parts of life. You know, everything has to be balanced in that way. Now, I believe everything is energy. That's how I look at everything. So the way that suffering affects your energy, I can look at this through the idea of chakras. Now, your chakras are essentially energy centers that reside within your body. There are 7 main chakras, but there have been said to have been plenty more. That's what a lot of people, depending on what you believe in, you may go one way or the other. You may say it's only 7. You may say it's more than 7. I'm going to talk about the main 7 right now, or at least the concept of them. So according to how division works, you have 7 different chakras. Your first three chakras would be considered to be your lower self. Your heart chakra would be like the center. It wouldn't be part of your lower self, and it also wouldn't be a part of your higher self, which would be the next three chakras. Now, when you live in a state of fear or anxiety, or you don't go along the path of the middle way, then you're residing within your lower self, which can be looked at in correspondence with the reptilian part of your brain. Now, your reptilian part of your brain essentially deals with your cardinal emotions, and it deals with the way that animals behave. So it's mainly no real thought process behind a lot of things that they do. It's mostly just instincts and things that you do for survival. Now, when you live in your higher self, which is akin to living along the middle way and just accepting things for what they are and processing how you feel in that moment and not reacting so extremely in either direction to it, then you're living along your higher self, which is correspondent to your neo-mammalian part of your brain, which deals with things like higher thought, it deals with higher thought forms and thought processes and things like that. Now, the middle way is essentially, you can think about it in a lot of different ways, but it essentially mainly deals with the idea of finding balance within your suffering. Now, as I said before, suffering is an inevitable it is an inevitable part of the human experience, and it is something that you can't escape no matter what it is that you do. There's always going to be something that you really want, and it's always going to be something that you really don't want to do, especially in the world that we currently live in, which tends to be very materialistic, especially in the Western world. There's always going to be something that you want, and whenever you get the thing that it is that you really do want, there's always going to be something else that you're going to want even more than that. And it's just going to keep on continuing, and it's never going to stop. You'll never be satisfied with whatever it is that you're chasing after, because there's always something else to chase after that. Now, in addition to that, on a polar opposite of that, there's always going to be something that you don't want to do, or it's always gonna be something that you may want, and you may like try to renounce yourself from it. Like, let's say you really want to um let's say you really want to be a dancer or something, right? And your family raised you and said that dancing was bad, so you decided instead to become a monk or something like that. It sounds very weird, but it's the best way that I can really conceptualize it right now off the top of my head. Let's say this situation is going on like that, so you become a monk so that you don't fall into the sin of dancing or whatever it may be. And within yourself, you're always going to have that desire to dance if that's what you feel like your true calling is. But if you deny yourself that by becoming a monk, you're still not living among the middle way, and you're still not living a balanced lifestyle, because you're going to be suffering because you're not acting in accordance with what you believe that your true purpose is. Now, that's the best way I can explain it. I hope I was able to shed some light into the idea of suffering, and to help flow some ideas through your mind to help yourself live a more balanced life. That is all that I have today. Peace.